Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Agile DevOps Virtual News Desk. I'm Owen Godimer, the Community Manager at TechWell. I'm joined now by Mike Maheu, the Senior Vice President of Professional Services and Operations at GoTo Group. Mike, thanks for sitting down with us to have this conversation today.
Sure, absolutely.
So GoTo Group really in the space, the DevOps and cloud space, and working to help organizations move through their DevOps journey in the cloud. And I was hoping maybe we could talk about, what some trends you see in the DevOps and in the cloud space are right now.
Sure. Yeah, well, we're definitely seeing, most of our clients are medium to large, extra large companies, and we're definitely seeing, obviously, a move to the cloud. Even, it started out as kind of dev tools, moving to dev tools there for the Agile aspect of virtualization and containerization and things like that. But even now we're seeing more tools and more, they're moving all of their development processes to the cloud, again, for the agility of it, the lower cost, and then, retooling it at the same time. So what we see a lot with larger companies is what we call tools and process fragmentation. They've got, decades potentially of, lots of different teams creating, they may use Jira, they may use Confluence, they may, have different development tools. Maybe there's a Java shop and a .NET shop. So they get all over the place, and they really can't deliver fast or with precision, and even really practice Agile in a good way when they're kind of fragmented like that. So a lot of times companies will have us come in to realign their tooling and realign their process with their tooling. And I see a lot of companies are doing that right now. You can call that a digital transformation included with a little bit of an Agile transformation or an Agile reset. So that's kind of what we're seeing across the board right now. Companies are really trying to reset, figure out how they're going to be on the cloud, and really in the end, how can we deliver our code changes faster with better precision and better quality?
Yeah, absolutely. How do you think that the current situation we're in with the coronavirus has impacted organizations trying to move through their digital transformations?
Yeah, we've definitely seen a slowdown from just the aspect of that. Larger companies, typically they don't work from home. They're usually in different locations, offices or whatever. So everybody being at home all the time, if you were, it's kind of funny because you could try to get any kind of IT equipment, or, Zoom just shot way up. I'm sure they have stock, it went way up because people were getting monitors. They needed, different physical tools and software to work from home. But at the same time, I think, we definitely saw, clients where they were a little bit checked out. They weren't quite engaged with the projects that we're working on. So there was definitely a slowdown, but I think it did, kind of present to them some difficulties and some things that they need to address as far as, what their cloud infrastructure looks like. How do they really deliver things if they're relying on a data center or relying on things where people have to VPN in to get to and things like that. And these days, as everything's kind of moving to the cloud, it's really because of that. That's one of the major reasons, is because even at GoTo Group in the old days, we used to be a kind of more of an SCM focused company, and we always kept our source code behind a VPN in a data center. And it was just really hard to get to and hard to collaborate. And if you're going to really be agile and kind of be distributed, but be co-located, virtually co-located, work in Slack or work in the different tools, you have to have all that stuff set up. It has to be integrated, it has to be talking to each other. You have to have, dashboards, information radiators become even more important. So I think, during this virus, I think companies kind of saw, oh, we didn't really put enough thought into this, and we need these things. We need these information radiators that anybody can see from anywhere, from their phone, their tablet, or whatever. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, there's challenges in the technology and in the tools that you use, especially when you're in a virtual environment and you're distributed across maybe the country, maybe across the world.
Yeah.
even if you're distributed across your city and you just can't get into your office right now. What kind of people challenges are you seeing from an Agile perspective in having to work from home, especially those larger organizations who are maybe used to being able to get into the office together?
Right. Yeah. I mean, some companies, it's just like us. We've been, virtual from the beginning pretty much. So it's just like nothing, no big thing for us. But we did definitely saw companies, and like I said, people were kind of checked out. Um, I think there's kind of a mental game. Some people are just not used to working from home. But again, I think, if they were not able to get information as quickly as they normally would because they were all in an office, that slowed down projects for us to some degree. But then there are other ones that, weren't necessarily a distributed or, had a lot of virtual workers that did well. We have a major airline and they actually kind of seemed like they almost increased momentum because they got their game faces on, because they were directly affected and they were like, hey, let's giddy up, And so our guys were like, wow, they were working harder than they were before, that are helping the airline. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a good learning experience for a lot of companies, and I think that it'll make things better going forward. But again, it influenced even more, I think, the need for cloud and the need for virtual infrastructure and things like that for companies.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think that that transition, obviously as companies they're basically forced to work in the cloud and forced to work virtually right now. Do you think that that's going to have a lasting effect kind of on the way we work moving forward? Do you think you're going to see some of these larger organizations maybe allow more flexibility in work from home or virtual work moving forward, even after this settles down a little bit?
Yeah, I think that, but I think even with companies that really focus on, I think co-location is great. If you're in an office, collaboration is the key. So I think companies, they found out ways to collaborate being distributed. So they're probably going to dial in on that even further, but they'll continue to use those same techniques and tools, whether they're distributed or not. And I think that's the beauty of it because, we've at Go-To Group, we've gotten really good at collaborating. It's like putting us in an office, we would probably be like, what is going on here? Because we're just so used to using our tools and having our meetings, and, some of our teams will be on Zoom or whatever, throughout the day. We're on Slack. But I think more importantly, having the infrastructure and having the development tools and the CI/CD pipelines and all of this stuff, be aware and be able to dashboard that across the organization. Because, if you're there in a building, somebody could go by the dev area and talk to somebody or whatever. And in this case, they're either going to have to reach out to them on Slack, or even better would be, again, providing them with the dashboard to see, what are the, what happened when what was deployed, what's the feedback, what's the the ticketing situation look like from the service desk, or whatever type of feedback they're getting from their customers or their users.
Yeah, visibility obviously is such a big piece of Agile and DevOps, breaking down silos, making sure that people can kind of see what's going on, what's happening, how they can help. And I agree that when we move back, if companies start to move back into co-located settings, that they have learned a lot through this kind of virtual experience, right, that they're going to be able to take forward with them. Mike, the time goes faster than you could ever imagine. So I want to thank you for your time today, sitting down with us and having this conversation. If you haven't already and you're attending the virtual conference, please stop by Go-To Group's virtual booth. Have a conversation with them. Great for DevOps, cloud, IT transformation, digital transformation, Agile resets, as Mike mentioned. So Mike, thanks again for sitting down with us today.
Absolutely. Enjoyed it. Thanks.